So welcome to the next video in this series looking at the archery scoring apps. In this video we're looking at the app called Archery Score Keeper. There is a free version of this, obviously, because I'm only looking at free versions of the apps, and there are also paid for versions as well. So we're just going to have a look first of all at what you get if you pay for the paid for version. Right, so in the Pro version only, there's support for up to 4 archers, whereas I believe in the free version there's only support for 1 archer, which is fine because you're probably only going to be using it yourself. And there's no limitations on the number of history records that you can create. Unfortunately, in this free version there is a limit. It will only store your last 10 scores, which is a bit of a limitation. But in the free Pro, in the Pro version as well, you don't get ads. And if you go for the next step up, the Ultra version, you can have as many archers as you want. You can store as many history records as you want. Well, that's really the same in both, to be honest. But you do get, you are able to export in Excel files to Excel files if you have the Ultra version as well. So when you install the free version of Archery Score Keeper, or any version really, this is the front screen that you'll get. And it's quite simple, basic, which is nice. No steep learning curves here. So what you can do is start down the bottom left here with the picture of the archer. So we're just going to click on that. And this is the profile that I've already sort of created. Now you can add a new profile if you want to. Obviously, I think on the free version you can only have 1 archer. But if I click onto that, there's not too much here. Basically I've just added profile 1 and my name in here, so there's not too much to add on here. And if I created a new one, it would be the same thing. So there's your archer, nice and simple. And then moving along, we've got the picture, the icon of the bow and arrow. So on this screen, really simple, a bow, an arrow. Right, so let's go on to bow. I haven't added a bow yet, so I'm going to add a bow. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to just say recurve. My bow. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to add some arrows. I'll add my ACE 520s. Okay, so we've got our bows and arrows, really nice and simple, come right back out. And then moving along the bottom here, we've got a database, which even on the free version, which is brilliant, you can back up and restore your database. And it shows there's 2 records in it, and it shows the date as well. So, and it will show you basically where on your phone it's sort of storing it, or where you want to store it. And where you want to back it up to and bring it back from. So that's brilliant. That was one of the main criteria of mine, that you could actually export and re-import your data just in case something happened to your phone, or you broke it, you lost it, etc. So moving on to the cogwheel for settings along the bottom here. Not too many settings, which is good. Start with, the phone will vibrate, obviously when you can set it to vibrate when you enter a score or whatever. You could have a sound as well. It looks like you can have black and white or colour. There's the choice of having a pop-up score input box, which I've said yes. You can change your language, and then finally down here your keypad. Now this is obviously important if you are, depending on what you're scoring, whether you're scoring certain rings on a target, 1 to 6, 1 to 5 then in the X, or odd numbers, or 1 to 10 with the X. So you need to be changing that on here depending on the round, but you can change that further on when you're shooting your round, so don't worry about it too much, that it's in there as well. But if you mostly do one or the other, set it in there, I suppose. Okay, and then there's a help question mark, which is nice because there's lots of different questions and answers in here about how to export or enter scores, this, that and the other. So that's nice to see. That's easy to get to and on hand. If I just move on to the top, there's an information here. telling you a little bit about the different versions and about how to upgrade to the Pro and the Ultra version, and how to sort of email off a bug if you find one as well. And then finally on the top here there's a calendar, so you can jump toward to different shoots that you did on certain days if you were looking for the results. So that's nice and easy as well. Right, so coming on to the main four choices on the main screen here, we've got score sheet, history, stats and comparison. So nice and simple, nice and straightforward. So if we go straight to the score sheet, it comes up with our name, with our archer, and we've got our first profile here which is ticked. Now at the moment on this profile I've set it up so that we've got two target types. We've got a 30-yard scoring 1-5 zone, and we've got a 70-meter scoring 1-10. So what I'm going to do is, but obviously you can see the plus and the edit buttons on the bottom here, so you can actually edit these as well. But I'm going to click on this first profile. Actually no, I'm not going to edit it. So we've got our profile name up here, which I believe we can change, but I'm going to leave it the same. So we've got a type, we can change it to outdoor or indoor, and this is the bow. Oh no, we can change the bow type here as well to different bows. I thought that was just going to be the bow that I defined. Face size, another drop down here for all the different sizes of faces you can get, from 20 centimeter up to 122. And then your location, which you can add locations in here. So if you shoot at the same place several different times, you can add your various locations, or maybe the competitions that you shoot regularly during the year. You could add those in. There's a memo field here for adding notes. And finally on the bottom here, here's my target. So what I've set up is two different targets here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another one. Well, actually what I'll do is I'll delete that one and I'll add it back in. So in here then we get a choice. Now it looks slightly dated saying FITA because it's really sort of World Archery now, or WA. There's a lot of already listed rounds in here, so I'm going to keep it simple and just choose the GNAS, or Archery GB now really, Imperial, which is yards, outdoor round. So once I've chosen that, then I get to choose all my funny named rounds. So let's choose something like a Warwick. Now that Warwick has chosen 50 and 60 yard for me, which is what that is, so that's done it for me already. The only strange thing I can see from that is that the X-ring isn't a 10 on a Warwick. It's actually a 9. Bit strange. As all yard kind of distances in the UK are, the maximum is 9, so it's odd scoring. Anyway, so let's just change that. I'm going to take that 30 yard out. So this demonstrates that we shoot two distances on this round. Basically, we start shooting the longer 60 yard, and then we'll shoot the 50 yard. So that's my profile changed, and you can see I've got my two targets in here as well. Now I'm going to add another profile, just to see if this allows me to set this up. So I've got my second profile. I'm not going to be indoors, I'm going to be outdoors. I've got my recurve bow. I'm going to go on full face again, 122. Don't worry about that. And now I'm going to choose a FITA outdoor round. I'm going to choose a 70 meter and leave it at that and press done. So here's my other profile. So you could set these profiles up for yourself, and if I want to change it back to where I was before, I just bring the drop down and I go back to my my Warwick distance that I set up. So brilliant. So I'm going to just click done on that one, and now I've clicked done on it, it actually thinks I'm going to shoot it. So this is my first. If I change that to 2, you see we go down to the second profile target, second target in the profile, should I say. So we go down to the 60 yard from the 50 yard. Okay, so this is showing me my average score, my total score on here as well. Now what I'm going to do next, I'm not going to look at those next, I'm just going to click plus, and this is how you add your scores. So there's no plotting of arrow points on a target face. You literally just, you see I've got my odd number scoring, and I'm just going to put in my numbers and click done, and that was my first end. Now one little neat thing about this app is that you can take a photo as well of your target face. You can also make notes about that end if you want to as well. So I'm just going to add another end in, so we can see here it's adding up my totals nicely. It's giving me my averages. When it comes to the photos, obviously it will jump to your cameras, your phone's camera, and you can take a picture of it. The only downside I found with it was I took a picture of my kind of coffee mug, and in the score sheet end of things, the coffee mug looked very large on the score sheet. So it didn't. These days, obviously, mobile phones are taking bigger and bigger megapixel photos, so it was very difficult to resize that photo. But I'll do this for you anyway. I'm going to take a photo. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a photo, because I suppose that's what you do, really. Okay, so we've got my picture of my coffee mug on my Star Wars mat. It's a bit close, but let it find focus, which it can't because I think it's too close. Let's just take a picture of that anyway. I'm going to say OK. I've got a picture of my coffee mug for the end of my arrows. So that's what you can do if you want to take a picture of your arrows. It's quite difficult though, I suppose, if there's lots of people on your boss at a competition or something like that, then you might have 4 times 6 arrows, so you might have 24 arrows. So it's going to be quite difficult to take a picture in the end. But anyway, right, while we're in here, so we'd carry on doing that to fill out our results. Now on the top here, there are various other things. As I said before, you from here, Keypad, in the menus while you're taking your scores, you can change the scoring zones, which is good because you don't have to go all the way back out to the menu. Number of arrows per end, maximum is 6 there, or any number. Browse, we're just looking at what we're looking at now, really, but I'm just going to go back from that. Overall setting. This is kind of another screen, really, a shortcut of it. Knows also that we're outdoor and we're shooting this size face and the time, so it's just a way of amending that or seeing that. Personal setting seems to be the same. Yeah, so it's probably not a good idea to do that here anyway, because we're still scoring, and it probably won't change anything. And then you can get back to your bow and arrow settings as well. So anyway, I'm going to say done on that. Exit the game. You sure you want to exit the game? Yeah, I want to exit the game. Okay. So we're going to pretend we've done that score already. We're going to now look back at it in history. So this is, I had 12 hits, okay, on that date. And I took 2 photos of it. What I can't get a bit confused about is what this middle one is doing here, really. Unless this was, this must have been an earlier one that I entered today already. That's what it is. Okay, so if we go at the top here, it's basically just your file manager area. But what we're more interested in, if I click on one of those, I can go back into it, as you can see there, and then I can go back in and I can actually edit the results as well. So go back to where we were. So in here you can share it, and what I'll do is it will take you to the share page on your phone, so you can share it on, I don't know, WhatsApp or Facebook, or just email it or post it to OneNote, whatever you want to do. And if I click on here, here's my score sheet. Which is great, it's got score sheets, It's very difficult to see on here actually. I'm going to have to just touch the phone, but I kind of want to come out, make this a lot smaller, but then again I kind of want to zoom in so that you can see it as well. So I've got my name on here, it's got the time, the place. I was recurve outside. Although I can't see where it's telling me it's like a Warwick round or anything like that on it. But yeah, so I've got my scores, my name, some stats, and then if I scroll down I've got my ends on here with the totals. The only downside is, as I said before, the photo, because they're so large, it doesn't seem like you can resize them, that it takes up a lot of the space. Whereas if I removed that photo, then the score sheet wouldn't span pages and pages and pages. And obviously you can print that out if you want to, or share that as well. So that's quite nice to see a score sheet. Really important. That was one of my main things that I wanted to see, a score sheet as well. And that's just the settings screen again. Right, so I'm going to go back to this screen because I want to sort of go through these bottom options down here as well. So again, this is sharing, so you could share that just like we did before. This is to transfer it to another archer. It's a bit of a strange thing to do, but because it says no item is selected, and you can transfer that. And this one has given me some stats, which is nice, which is what I asked for. Obviously you can choose different archers. If the drop down here, you can look at the average, you can look at the number of hits, number of X's. And if we go to this one, this just seems to select all. Don't know what that's a. Okay, let's check that one out. Oh, we can export it. That's quite nice. Let's export that to spreadsheet. Should we include the photos? Let's include the photos. Okay. Yeah, we need the ultra version for that. So it's there, but you can't do it. And then finally, you can delete your scores if you want to as well. So that's basically it. The only thing we haven't done is going on the comparison side of things. So you can filter and choose different shoots that you've done and actually compare them as well. That was one of the last things to have done. So has Archery Score Keeper fulfilled the brief that I had? That I wanted it to be easy to use. Well, it certainly is straightforward and easy to use. Back up and restore my data. Yes, we can back up and we can restore the data, which is brilliant. It is a free app on Android. Can you create a score sheet? Yes, you can create a score sheet, as we've seen before. So it's got some great things going for it. The main downside I see, because it's a free app, the free version only allows you to keep 10 scores. So you're soon going to fill those up, but you could delete your older scores if you're happy to do that and you've already sent them off to your records officer, or printed them out, or backed them up to a spreadsheet. Well, hang on, you can't do the spreadsheet backup, can you, unless you buy the full version? So you're a little bit stuck, but you can only have 10 records or 10 shoots in there. So that's the major downside of this app, really, is that problem of not only being able to hold 10 records. But I say again, you could upgrade. Right, the only other problem that I saw, and it's kind of an app problem, kind of not an app problem. Personally, as I'm getting in my late 40s now, my eyesight is not brilliant, and I do have to sometimes wear glasses for reading. What I've done on my phone is I've increased the font size on my phone. So at the moment we've got it on standard kind of font size, really, for this, and you can see it fits really well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into settings and I'm going to change the font size a couple of spaces, kind of a couple of blips higher, just to make the font a little bit larger, as how I'd normally have it. And then what we'll do is we'll come back into the app. So we're on the font screen on this Samsung S10, and you can see here I've set it more or less in the middle, or slightly smaller. But what I found myself doing was actually moving it up to this size. so that I could see it better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to go back in to the app. Now, as you can see here, the problem here is that because I've sized the font larger, everything else seems okay, but it looks like the circles with the numbers in them haven't resized, whereas it should have really done that. So it's even cut those numbers off in half. So that could do with really fixing. So the numbers don't really fit in there. I don't think that was a problem anywhere else. If I go back to adding another round, so you can still add your extra scores in there, but it just kind of cuts them off. I didn't think that was a problem anywhere else, to be honest. Yeah, everything else looks like it's kind of fine and it's kind of resized. So it was just that area where I found that bug. So tell me if you use Archery Score Keeper, whether it's the free version or the paid version, whether it's Pro or the Ultimate version. Tell me if you use it. Tell me if you get on with it. Tell me if you've had any problems with it. Tell me why you like it. I'd be interested to know. Or if you've got any other apps that you recommend that I haven't looked at yet, please tell me and I'll install them and give them a go. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.